What's up, Brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, is the great and powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Spoopy time.
Tonight's brew, we are talking about and drinking upon the Allagash Brewing Company flagship beer, the Allagash White. It's a Belgian-style ale, a Belgian-style wheat beer, and they make their triumphant return to the state of Florida, and we will have more about that after the break. Also, what we have on tap, it's just going to be a spooky night.
Spooky.
So let's just fucking get into it because we got no time to waste. This is episode 330.
Mm-hmm.
Grab your beer. Of the One Beer In Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Lost to be found.
He did the
Monster Gash.
Save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where I fit in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the One Beer In Podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. As I said, my name is Marco Dupa. That guy is Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate any and all attention, any and all listens, views, likes, shares, subscribes,
Comments. Leave us a comment.
Do it up. Yeah, I think I've done enough. Without further ado, Obi, please tell the people what we're drinking on tonight.
Well, as Marco Dupa said, we have the Allagash White. It's a Belgian-style wheat beer. Beer with coriander and curacao orange peel. Comes in at 5.2 ABV. And we have a cold read, friends.
Oh, happy day.
This is the Allagash White. And I quote, "Our take on this Belgian style is brewed with coriander and curacao orange peel. Citrus forward, hazy, and refreshing. We brew all of our beer at a single brewery in Portland, Maine, just like we have since 1995.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we got.
So Allagash, they left here a couple of years ago due to marketing and distribution constraints, and we were one of the places that
Got cut.
Uh-huh. And fans were they were chomping at the bit to bring Allagash back to Florida. The one good thing that Florida's done is bring Allagash back to the state. So that's very exciting. Shout out to Steve at Red Light, inventory manager extraordinaire, friend of the show. He says that this is his desert island beer. If you could have anything, if you could have the one beer, this would be the one. So we should probably taste it. And then I think we should probably talk about what our desert island beer is before we get into everything else. So
Okay.
drink a little bit,
All
take
right.
a little bit of time, think about your desert island beer.
Clink.
That is good.
Yeah. More complex than I was thinking it was going to be. Okay, so desert island beer, meaning a beer that if we had to pick one, we're going for that one.
Meaning you can't have anything else but this for the rest of your, I guess, time on your desert
On
island.
the desert island, okay.
Not that it has to be something good on a desert island, because
Yeah. I was kind of thinking that way for a second.
yeah. So get that out of your head.
Okay.
It's just like, what's your go-to? What's the one?
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
It would be the Cigar City High Lie.
Oh.
A classic, just a general heavy hitter classic IPA. One of the ones that got me into this biz in the first place.
Yep.
And one of those, after all these years, I still haven't gotten tired of.
Yep.
If I occasionally, especially if it's on tap, I'll go out of my way and get it. So just for its sort of classic home down feel. I'm going to go with that one. It's very comforting to me.
You know
I like
what?
it.
Hold on, I gotta look up this beer
Okay.
because I can't remember the. I think it's Coppertail's Unholy.
The triple?
Yes, but let me just double check.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because they have some good ones. The Night Swim,
Mm-hmm.
Free Dive, Working on the Night Moves.
You're going to get turned up on that island.
Yeah, dude. Yes, the Coppertail Unholy Triple.
Tripel.
I would say, I think it's been well documented that my favorite beer is probably the Left Hand Milk Stout Nitro.
Right.
Or, yeah. But I'll say this: the one beer that was my go-to, especially when I was in a very deep state of depression, was the Coppertail Unholy.
Fair.
And it was the only thing. It's the only positive thing that I had at the time. I was like, this beer at least tastes really good, and it'll put me to sleep really quickly. I know that's pretty dark. We're talking dark.
Well,
We're going dark.
I didn't think we were going that scary, but okay.
That's the reality of the situation.
Sure. No, I get you.
I mean, honestly, if I had to pick a desert island beer, it would be between those two.
Yeah.
Left Hand Milk Stout on Nitro or the Coppertail Unholy. I don't know if we've even done it on the show. I know we've done Coppertail beers on the show.
Sure, yeah, we've done a few.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's no way that we had to have. We had to have done it.
Yeah.
But I really, really like that beer. And when I think about like, if I was on a desert island and I couldn't drink anything else, what would I want to do? I fucking get drunk on some Tripel and just call it a night. Yeah.
Just wait for help.
9.5%, I think.
Yeah.
And even if help doesn't come, at least
fine.
I'm like, I'm asleep in the
Yeah.
sand. I don't care. It tastes fantastic. Coppertail does some great shit.
It's true.
So that'd probably be the one.
A couple local boys we got.
Yes, that's
Very
right.
good.
That's
go
right,
to
that's
go
right.
to Tampa.
Yeah.
Have fun. Yeah, I was thinking about doing my favorite beer. The Delirium Tremens, of course.
Of course.
But I don't know. I feel like I usually keep that one for special occasions.
Yeah.
Especially on bottle. If I see it on draft, chances are I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You got to.
You
got
got
to.
You
We
got
did
to.
our Delirium event a couple months ago.
I was able to have it on draft just the other day, actually, because you guys had it on draft.
That's right. So you got
Red light, Central Florida. Check it out.
That's right. All right. When this episode comes out, it'll be a day before Christmas. Christmas. It'll be a day before It'll be on All Hallows Eve, right?
I think
Hallows
so.
Eve, yeah. It'll be on All Hallows Eve, Saturday, October 30th, right? October 30th is a Saturday.
I thought it's the 20th.
No. Check it. Look it up. Fuck.
Let's see.
All Hallows Eve. What did you even Google? What is happening?
I looked up calendar 2021.
Oh my god! I can't believe you've done this.
Okay, all right.
What
Relax.
have you done? I'm just gonna look at it on my phone. We're so stupid.
Excuse me.
Saturday, October 30th.
Okay.
The 31st is a Sunday.
Yes, which
We
is Halloween.
are dumb.
Which is Halloween. That's right.
So, we just, if you've been listening to this podcast for the past couple years, you'll know that we're a couple of spoopy boys.
Quick correction. All Hallows Eve is actually Halloween.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did that because then, we'd be fucking...
Just idiots.
Yeah, just fucking, yeah.
We'd look really dumb.
Mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine looking stupid?
Never. Not on this show.
And we've spoken about a bunch of spooky stuff in the past. Favorite slasher villains, which is a couple years ago. We talked about that.
That's right.
Just some real life spooky stories, things of that nature. So, this is the thing. We're big fans of the spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is any territory that we retread on, apologies in advance. But can't help it.
Yeah.
There's just some shit that we just gotta.
It's been a year. We like to, just share the spoops.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Yeah. I think that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So let's start off with something at least a little topical, which is the fact that Netflix has been making a thing out of a couple of industries that Netflix has dipped their toes in, or rather spread their tentacles and latched onto and grabbed.
It's better visual. Yeah.
Right. Any kind of Korean culture.
Recently, yeah.
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 Anime.
Uh-huh.
They've been grabbing like classic movies, like not like super. Well, I mean, they have some. They have fucking Apocalypse Now is on there right now.
There you go.
And also, they've been doing this thing where they've been really funneling a lot of money into scary shit, horror movies, thrillers, things of that nature. Because it's not just what we're about to talk about, but like, I don't know what that fucking movie's called, like Killer Babysitter or The Babysitter's Dead or some bullshit like that.
Okay, yeah.
With like, the cast is filled with a bunch of Vine stars.
Yeah, that's right.
They've funneled a lot of money into there's like different horror movies, a lot of horror movies rather, that they have put their money into or put their big N behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just kind of, it's weird, it's interesting that Netflix, this conglomerate, this machine, this monster, would go, let's put some money behind a bunch of horror movies and thrillers and things of that nature.
I think you underestimate how many people watch crappy horror movies.
I think you're
every
right.
night.
Yeah.
I mean, especially this season. Obviously, I'm sure that like every streaming app gets a bump on all their horror stuff in the month of October.
What can I say before we get into what we're going to get into?
Sure.
Netflix, for the record, has probably the worst selection of classic horror movies out of every streaming service that's out there right now.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's because in years past they've had good selections and they've had to give those movies up, because in years past I don't remember going on Netflix and being like, what the fuck is going on? Why aren't there any good movies on here?
What's super frustrating is seeing a really good horror movie pop up in December and you're like, could have used this, not too long ago.
Dude, it makes me so angry.
Yeah.
I watched The Thing like 3 months ago. How come I can't watch it right now on anything?
Because you want to.
Yeah.
And the studios know that, and they go, let's pull them.
But okay, sure, you get the money from me paying the $3 to rent it or whatever. But wouldn't it be better if I just knew that your streaming service was there for me when I needed you to be there for me? And I can tell people, hey man, Hulu was there for me when no one else was. They had the movies that I wanted to watch. I didn't have to watch shitty ads. They were there for me.
Yeah, that's fair, but I feel like it may not even be up to those streaming apps as much as it is the studios that make these movies that can literally just say take it down in, by mid-October or else.
Well, it's up to somebody.
It's up to somebody. Somebody's leaving money on the table.
A lot of money on the table. Okay, so what Netflix is doing really well is a lot of their original content. And one of the biggest things that they've created is this series of TV shows that you are a huge fan of. Oh, yeah. And so I would like to just give you the floor so that you can talk about these shows because you've watched them.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't finished them because I'm a huge pussy. So, Obi, please tell the people about these shows and get the fucking. I mean, they're not paying us to do this,
right?
But they should be.
We wish.
Yeah. So
Netflix,
the floor is yours, my friend.
Your move. Well, thank you very much for that intro. So there's an American filmmaker. His name is Mike Flanagan. He directed kind kind of lower budget, not low budget movie, but lower budget horror movie called Oculus that a lot of people really like. But after that, he got into doing this run of Netflix series that has just been super popular. You may have heard of them. It's The Haunting on Hill House was the first one. Blah! Haunting of Bly Manor was the second one. Blah, blah. And most recently is Midnight Mass. Blah, blah, blah. So the first two of those series are obviously a bit closer in tone and style. But it's okay if you want to watch one or the other. They aren't connected in that way. And in fact, all these series kind of share actors in sort of an American Horror Story way. Not that it's an anthology series or anything like that. It's just that I guess Mike Flanagan likes working with a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
And also he's married to one of the stars of those,
conflict of interest.
Those series. I know.
Mikey.
You're lucky Kate Siegel's really good, okay? Anywho. Yeah, but I feel like Hill House, it's obviously a retelling of the haunting on Hill House, the haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other names of that same story throughout time because it's a really old story.
Yeah.
But this is a sort of modern telling of it. So the same thing with Bly Manor.
Yeah.
Too. Essentially, it's a classic haunted house story, and it's told really well. It's very scary. I watched a lot of it through my fingers. I'm not too big of a man to say that. But, you know, me loving the horror stuff, and I just feel like Mike Flanagan has such a finger on the pulse of how to craft the perfect scare.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone in modern times quite have such a handle on building tension in a way and not just having the cheap jump scares. There are a lot of jump scares in these things, but they're all earned. None of them made me angry. You know, it's not like, oh, Kitty, what are you doing here?
Right.
You know, it's like, no, it ratchets up the tension and the dread all the way through. And because these are all series, they're all like sort of mini series, you have a lot of time to play with.
Do you think that is what separates him from other horror filmmakers, which is that there's an importance laid upon, like, not just scaring people, but like having there's things that are unsettling that are scary, but like jump scares are hard to do.
Sure.
Because they're so easy to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
They're hard to do right.
Right.
Yeah. They're easy to do. You just make a really loud noise and have something jump out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Like that's very easy.
But
in
it's
concept.
cheap. Like you said, it's not, it's unearned.
Right. I mean, it can be fun in its own right if that's the tone you're setting is just like, oh, it's like a Horror Nights house where things just pop out and you get spooked for a second and it's fun and whatever. But no, these shows are consistently more serious toned, dark dramas, usually family dramas that have a lot of depth, I'd say is the right word for it.
Yeah.
So really, I've heard of a lot of people watching these that aren't big into horror that just get enthralled by the family story. To which I say, be careful.
Yeah, good for you, I guess.
You're going to have trouble sleeping. But, yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure if the format of them being shows is a detriment or more of a challenge to Mike Flanagan, or if it's actually just a bigger palette to paint with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his movies. I haven't seen Oculus, and I haven't seen Dr. Sleep, which he also did, which a lot of people like too.
Surprising amount of people thought that was not a worthy sequel, but like good enough.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's all you need if you're following up Kubrick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see those movies to let you know, like, if he can do it in an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
But as far as like modern horror pieces of content at all, these shows rank among the top for me. I love them. They're great. They're great ensemble casts, great stories, great scares. Yeah, I can't recommend them enough.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would say is if you're not into horror, give them a chance. But if you nope out, I understand. The only other thing I'd say is if you are more horror averse, try Midnight Mass. It's a little less scary than the other two.
Yeah.
So,
People like yourself, and who can watch these things and then like, all right, I'm gonna turn over now and go to sleep. I don't get it. I don't get it because things affect me. Things infect me,
seep into your psyche.
And at least for the day, at least for like a day and a half, I can't get them out. They're just there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about them very deeply, and like even if I don't want to, they just like swim around in there.
Yeah.
And it'll take a couple of days, and then I can get over it. But
sure.
For a little bit, they're in there.
Have you given any of the Mike Flanagan trilogy of shows a
I
watch?
started watching the first one, which was Hill House.
Yeah.
And it was creepy as shit, scary as fuck. I watched the first like 3 episodes.
Very Beavis and Butthead way of saying it.
Creepy
as shit, scary as fuck.
And I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, I was watching them by myself and didn't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
Didn't have anybody to watch them with.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm done with this. I don't what am I going to gain from this? I'm just going to, what am I going to do? I was living alone at this time. You guys had already moved out when I started watching them. So I was like, I don't need this big old empty house by myself. Like, I don't want to fucking do this.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd rather watch Parks and Rec and then go to bed.
Right.
So after that point, I just never went back and revisited them. And then Bly Manor came out, and now Midnight Mass, and they all look excellent. But I am too much of a pussy to watch them. I mean, I can watch them like during the day and like take them in as a TV show.
Sure.
But that is not giving them the proper respect I believe that they deserve.
I disagree. I think that if that's what you need to do to watch them and you're going to enjoy them, I'm not saying put yourself through torture.
Yeah.
But if you can take it, like watching it during the day with, the blinds open and, the sun out, then do it.
Yeah.
It's all of these have really good stories, and I think you'll get something out of all of them.
Listen, I'm not like afraid to watch TV. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like afraid to watch these shows. I'm not like a pussy or anything.
Of course, I'd never say that.
I'm just saying that, my mind plays tricks on me sometimes. That's all, and I can't control it.
Yeah, I used to be more that way.
And then what happened? Tell me.
I was broken along the way. I don't know.
Broken man.
Something I may have just overexposed myself to really creepy stuff, but it takes a lot for a movie or a TV show to like go beyond jump scaring me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it is. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. Maybe if I just watch a bunch of them and just like condition myself to them.
Well, what I do is I know objectively that these things are fake.
Yeah.
The movie or whatever I'm watching is fake.
Yeah.
I personally don't know if ghosts exists, but I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe I'm probably not going to after seeing a scary movie all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I think objectively about that, I'm like, you're fine. Lock your doors, make sure your windows are closed, and put on your alarm, and you're good.
Hey, ghosts can't get in through locked doors.
Well, no, my point is the only thing you have to worry about is some asshole kicking in your door in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
So,
right.
Outside of that, protect yourself against that, but other than that, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and if ghosts are real, like, what are you really gonna do? Like, how are you gonna fight them anyway?
Sure.
Honestly, it's like, let's be honest.
Right. Got some holy water?
I think right. I think that's I think about that too, where I'm like, I've never seen a ghost. I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in what I see, and if I were to ever see a ghost, then I'd be like, well, now everything that I believe has been turned on its head. But as it stands, I don't believe in them. But I always say that I'm not a person who is strong on any belief.
Mm-hmm.
I am a person who is very malleable when it comes to if you can convince me of a thing, if what you're saying makes sense, then I don't know, I'll lend credence to that.
Yeah.
If what you're saying makes sense to me. Like it's just like there's things that just don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like ghosts don't make sense.
Yeah.
If there was a spiritual realm that they're just wandering around in, like I just feel like there would just be more evidence of them.
It's the same thing with Sasquatch. It's the same thing with UFOs.
Yeah,
everything
there would
else.
just be more evidence.
You would see more of it now than ever.
Yeah,
And
the idea that everything and every second of our entire lives is being documented, and yet no ghosts, no UFOs,
right?
No monsters,
There at least
no
hasn't
vampires.
been an uptick of those things.
There should be.
Yeah.
We're documenting every single second of our lives.
Yeah.
And yet, the only thing that you can tell me is like, look at that orb of light in
Sure.
the. Come on, man.
There's a shadow that passed back
I
there.
just say, it's. And again, if you were to be able to prove to me that what I'm saying is wrong, I'll listen to you. I'm not a person who's like, fuck off. I don't want to hear it. This is what I believe. Fuck you. I don't. I'm not stuck on any belief.
That's why I flinch to say I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, but I don't know. I can't say they exist. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say they exist. I did have that weird experience that I talked about on our Spooky Stories episode. Yeah. But I can't sit here and say that was a ghost.
There's people who believe in ghosts who are like, fuck you. You sit here and talk about like a weird experience that you had and then go, yeah, but.
Well, I don't know. It's unconfirmed to me, and that's okay.
That's all
right. It's all unconfirmed. The thing that is that I feel like growing up as a Catholic, it opens you up to the possibility of ghosts big time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ghosts, demons, all of that.
Yeah.
You believe as real on this planet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you pray to the Holy Spirit for a reason,
Right.
So, with that upbringing, I can't not have at least some interest, in a spiritual realm of some kind.
Yeah, there's a PCU that's...
And ghoulies,
That's like, well, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like that stuff. I find it interesting. I love ghost hunting shows, even though they're awful.
Yeah.
I grew up loving watching those things and getting like creeped out. I love it.
Well, part of the reason that they're awful is because at the end, nothing ever actually happens. Nothing.
Sure. You get an EVP or an orb.
Like, go fuck yourself. And they're like, did you hear what he said? He said, put the toast on.
Yeah. Sounds like a Skrillex song.
I'm just saying. It sounds like...
He clearly said, help me.
He clearly said, help me. Sounds like a grown man or a child. We're not sure.
Could be either.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just stuff like that that lets you go, I don't know. I don't know. We've created an entire industry behind ghosts, ghouls, goblins. And not one has walked up to the door and been like, I want money for that.
It's me, baby.
It's me. Hello. It's me. I'm the goblin, if you've been wondering. Anything.
Yeah.
So, not, Anyway, I will say still, my mind plays tricks on me. So it's like, I say all that, and yet I wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I see things in the shadows. So, there's that.
Okay.
Some would say pretty concrete proof of the spiritual realm.
Right.
I would say it has a lot to do with the fact that, like, I drank alcohol, then I watched a scary movie, and then also before that I went to a very scary event, and all of those things influenced my very influential mind.
Let's talk about that.
So if you're a local, you'll know about Petrified Forest, which is something that's been going on for quite a few years now.
Yeah, a long time now.
Wherein here locally, Central Florida, and even more centralized, like Altamont, Oviedo area, they have this big farm, and they create like a bunch of walkthroughs, a la. I just spaced on the
Horror Nights?
Halloween Horror Nights. Thank you.
Okay.
My brain just shut off for a second.
Uh-huh.
And it's way more affordable, honestly, because it's
In a farm.
yeah. But I will say, credit where it's due. These people who put this show on put extra care into making it the best show that it can be for the budget that it's on.
Nice.
I am pleasantly surprised at how good it's been the past 2 years. Because I went last year too.
Okay.
I took my niece. That was like not full on pandemic, but like we were in the pandemic.
Yeah,
I think at that point.
Well, it was October, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I was vaccinated at that point.
No, I don't think so. I don't think the vaccine was out yet, was it?
No, probably not. It must have been later than that. But yeah, it was a whole thing. Everybody was, separated. It was 6 feet here. Everybody was wearing masks, and it was hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Those
That's
masks sucked.
The thing they don't tell you about Florida for Halloween is that you're going to be sweating balls.
Yeah, we're wearing these sweaters, but it's also that's mostly because Obi keeps his apartment super cold, and and we like it that way. I keep my house out. We kept the house super cold, and we but that's just us. But October in Florida, we're still touching
so
86, 87, sometimes 90 degrees.
It's annoyingly hot.
Yeah.
We're getting lucky, though. If you guys are listening right now, it's probably pretty cool outside. It's supposed to be.
Well, it's supposed to be like low 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
High of lower 70s, which is bliss.
Yeah, here anyway.
For Florida, yeah.
So it was disgusting outside, wearing masks. Everyone was separated. It was a whole rigmarole, but it was still a good time, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then this year, obviously, the clasps have been removed a little bit, pretty much for the most part.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of that, and they did really, really well. It was a fun event. They took a lot of care. The sets looked way better than they should have. They paid attention in a way that's like just not necessary.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I mean, okay, so what I mean by that is the group,
they really listen to you.
No, they do. The group that I was with, they caught on to who was getting scared more. And they were like, "Oh, okay, well those are my bitches right there." And throughout the entire event, they just followed us around the park, sang our names through the houses, sang our names, pointing us out, making sure that each scare actor knew who was who. I mean, it gives this specialized like we're part of it kind of thing.
You're not going to get that at Horror Nights.
No,
Yeah.
You walk through and they're like, "I wouldn't go in there, Marco," and you're like, "Oh, what? How did you fucking know my name?"
I don't know you like that, sir.
Yeah, and it just gives this extra layer of and that's no fault of Universal.
No, of course not.
They have to do what they have to do.
It's
They have
just
to accommodate hundreds of thousands of people.
It's just too big of a crowd.
It's too many people.
Yeah.
There's no way to accommodate all those people. In fact, I think the fact that it's become so popular has been a detriment to the overall quality of the event, which is that like you just have to get in as many people as you can. You have to just do what you can with what you got.
And I got to be honest with you, that's partially what's kept me away this year. As much as I love it, just thinking about
all the people,
how much trouble it is to get in and out of that park and around that park, and worrying about, how big's the crowd going to be tonight? Are they going to sell out tonight?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to wait 2 hours to get into this haunted house? It's like I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of. I think that's the reason why I'm just gonna go one night and just call it a day.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'll deal with it for a night.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Call it a day. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's become a chore. It's definitely become a chore. And the older you get, the more you think to yourself, do I really want to deal with this?
Is it worth it?
Yeah. I'm going to drive all the way out there, find parking. I got to wear my nice, comfortable shoes because if I don't wear the good shoes, I'm going to be walking all day and
Standing
my feet are
for
gonna be killing
8
me.
hours.
Like I can wear my nice shoes and like look good, but I have to think about the fact that like each line is an hour to an hour and a half. So
and
I'm gonna
again,
hit
it's hot as hell.
hot as hell.
So you got to be comfy.
Yeah. So, not to deter people from going to
No,
Horror Nights,
absolutely not. I want to say I would go if I still were able to within the time that we have left.
Yeah. Well, you still are. There's a couple of days left. You definitely can still go.
It'd be too hard to figure out.
Would it though?
You
just have to buy the ticket.
It would.
I mean, let's just be honest. You just have to buy the ticket. I don't want to. I don't want to call you out on air, but all you have to do is buy the ticket.
I know. I'm not.
All I did. Hey, guess what? I'm going tomorrow.
Okay.
And I bought the ticket last night.
Okay.
So it's that easy.
It's nice. That's good. Happy for you.
You could just go. You could just come with me.
We'll talk about this.
Anyway, but Petrified Forest does really well with the resources that they're allocated and the money that they're given. They do really well.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. So we did that. Then we went back and watched The Conjuring, the OG movie,
Okay.
The Conjuring, which kind of set off this entire like Conjuring cinematic universe,
Oof.
which is super weird when you think about the
Yeah.
fact that like honestly only one of them is a good movie. The rest of them are either okay to
Two's okay.
dog shit.
Yeah.
2's okay. Then you get Annabelle. You get all the Annabelle movies, and
Yeah,
you get the Nun
trash.
movie where you're like,
Trash,
what's
trash,
happening right
trash.
now?
It's
Why
all
are you
bad.
doing this? None of these are good movies.
It is all bad after that. Yeah.
So then I did that, watched The Conjuring, and then you know what I did?
Mm.
I immediately went to bed.
Okay. Perfect.
And
Yeah.
I had all of that stuff swimming around in my
Good
head.
night.
So, late at night, wake up and think that I see a figure standing over me. I've probably talked about this in the past on the show.
Mhm.
I get night terrors sometimes, and it's not fun. It's not
Okay.
fun because it's not like I know some people who get sleep paralysis.
Right. I was going to ask you, is that the same as sleep paralysis?
No, what it is from what I understand about sleep paralysis, you are literally paralyzed in this like waking dream and have to just deal with or accept whatever's happening to you.
Yeah. You can't move. You can only see.
Right. What I experience usually is something where I am sort of coming out of a nightmare or a dream, thinking that I'm seeing something in real life, and I can react to it. The problem is they don't react to me. So in the moment, I feel powerless. It's not that I'm stuck in the bed and can't. It's that I do try to react to them. I usually like yell or fight or kick or do something like that in the moment, and they don't react. They just kind of look at me like, "What are you doing? You can't stop this. This is happening." And that's like scarier than not being able to do anything.
Right.
Because like at least if I'm paralyzed, it's like, well, I just have to accept my fate. I can't do anything. But if I'm kicking and nothing's happening, is there an actual?
Yeah.
Huh? Look at that. There's an actual article comparing sleep paralysis and night terrors.
From the brief synopsis I've read of this, essentially, sleep paralysis happens in deeper sleep and usually occurs closer to morning.
Yeah.
After you're like in REM sleep. Mm-hmm. Night terrors happen earlier in the night. Tends to be. It comes in that first wave of your sleep.
Every time I've ever had one, it's always been like as soon as I went to sleep, I'd wake up and look at the clock and it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I'm like, I've only been asleep for like less than an hour.
Yeah.
And this happened to me. Now I have to deal with these thoughts for the rest of the night.
Right.
And try to go back to sleep, which is near impossible. So.
But
that's fun.
It does say that sleep terror or night terrors more rarely affect adults. It's usually with children. And that sleep paralysis tends to happen more with adolescents or adults.
Yeah, I will say it's been a rare occurrence. It's not like this happens every month or something. I've only had like a couple in my entire lifetime. I'm 31. So I'd say, honestly, it's like every 10 years I get one.
Interesting.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yep.
So Now that Seinfeld is on Netflix, if ever I'm feeling like not feeling great, thinking about weird stuff, I'm just gonna watch like 3 episodes of Seinfeld. And
It's your therapy.
get that off my mind for the body
Whatever helps.
and the mind.
Whatever helps.
Yeah. So
So what happened? What happened?
so what I saw?
Yeah. If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. What I saw was what looked like a man. He didn't have a face. They never have a face.
Mm-hmm.
Standing over. Well, he wasn't really standing over me. He was he was like this. So you're in bed, and he was like this.
Okay.
Standing over me, looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're only listening, it appeared to me that hands on
his
knees,
shaking ass.
Shaking-
Shaking shit. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Hands on his knees, shaking ass on his thought shit.
Yeah.
Staring at me, but he was white.
Interesting. Usually you hear about like shadow figures.
Right, and I've seen shadow figures.
Right.
This thing wasn't. It was white. It had this. It had a white aura. His figure was white, and so Paris believes that this is a good sign.
Okay.
That what it was not a night terror. I mean, it was a night terror to me because it was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But that in actuality, it was a good entity. Because
Okay.
white, when it comes to the spirit realm, is a good thing.
Racist.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not like he did anything.
Yeah.
They never do it. Well, that's a lie. The first one did, but that's. I don't know if I think I talked about. Well,
you keeping it vague makes it sound way worse.
I know. The
Oh, he
last
did
one-
stuff.
The last one touched me in ways that I don't want to talk about. No, the first time I ever had a night terror, I'm pretty sure I talked about this on the show, which is why I was like hesitant to talk about it again. But
Sure.
I'll just give you the cliff notes.
Yeah.
I was like 10 or 11, maybe 12 when I saw it, and I thought I had woken up, and he was in the doorway, and he was staring at me, and I started screaming, and I was just like screaming for my parents because I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was screaming, he shushed me,
Mm-hmm.
and he smiled,
Mm.
and then he faded into the darkness,
Mm.
and that fucking terrified me.
I would think so.
And so that's what I mean by like the first one did do something. The last couple of times they haven't done anything. They just kind of they're just there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think to me this isn't just me trying to make myself feel better about this. To me, I have such a vivid imagination. I am constantly daydreaming. I'm constantly like creating these just wild things in my head. Sometimes to a fault where I'm like, stop thinking about that. Like invasive thoughts, like just constant. There's times where I can't get important work done because sometimes I'll just start to drift off into space.
Yeah.
And I think that makes me more susceptible to these things, and less that like. I don't know what would make somebody more susceptible to night terrors, but I think that has a lot to do with it. I think
Could be. Yeah.
the vividness of what I think about, and the frequency in which I think about those things.
I think it's so interesting to think about like what your subconscious does when you give up your control for the night, you know?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I've always found that terrifying. That's why I've never been good at going to bed. I've
Yeah.
always hated it. I always have, ever since I was a little kid. I've always been the most fussy sleeper.
Yeah.
And it's because it is such a sort of giving up of your control.
Yeah.
You just go off to dreamland. Let's see what happens tonight, you know? While you're completely vulnerable laying in bed.
It's a terrifying prospect to just give up that control.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
It feels like a little death, you know? Like you're just, all right, goodbye.
That's what people say is like sleep is just mini deaths.
Goodbye for a while. I'll see you if I get up in the morning.
Because, I mean, other than a dream that you only realize you've had once you've woken up, What about that experience when you're sleeping lets you know that you're even alive?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those mysterious things. It's very, very. It's almost like taking like a hallucinogenic drug for the first time. You're like, where's this going to take me?
Yeah.
You know? And you just kind of have to just give it up.
See, that kind of shit is the reason that you stay up all night.
Yeah.
You can't think about shit like that.
I know. And here's the thing. Is this therapy? It's times it's all I ask for.
Yeah.
It's hot and it's ready.
It's ready.
But I know when it happens. I know when I'm not going to be able to sleep that night. And it's whenever this invasive thought, like you were saying, it's an invasive thought that I can't control. Mm-hmm. I feel it coming on. Mm-hmm. I feel it coming on. And no matter what I do, it happens anyway. I try to stop it, but I can't.
Yeah.
And it just...
What the fuck is that?
It's my washer.
See?
It's the spoops. I'm sorry.
See, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. We're talking about this stuff, and then just water just starts...
Yeah. It happens sometimes. Old apartment. So... I know. So I know it's going to happen, but I can't stop it. And the invasive thought is you're going to go to sleep and you're going to have no control and it's going to be darkness for you don't know how long. And then you're going to wake up. Maybe. We'll see. And that thought of just black, like just darkness and silencing of everything and having no control instantly gets me to go, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm going to find something to do, and I'm going to stay up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand how that must feel for you. Just having this thought, that unwanted, invasive thought that you can't control. But it comes anyway. Yeah.
And so, like, well, now you have to deal with this. So, how about you think about that?
So,
how does that feel?
I'm curious, what happened after you awoke to that? What did you do? What was the process that happened here?
I always fight.
Okay.
This is how I know. There's been a couple of experiences in my life where my fight or flight response goes off, and I'm definitely a fight.
Okay.
And I always wondered, you can talk a bunch of shit,
sure,
right? And you can say, yeah, I'd fuck that motherfucker up. I don't care.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But in your heart of hearts, you really have to think, like, what's your body going to do? What's your mind going to do? What are the chemicals in your brain going to do?
Reptile brain mode. What's going to happen?
Because you can be Mr. Tough Guy, but fight or flight takes over, and it's like some people fucking take off running. No shame in that.
Sure.
Some people, their brain just goes, it's time to fight.
Right.
And there have been a couple experiences in my life where involuntarily I'm like, it's fight time.
Okay.
And it's usually night terrors when it's fight time.
Uh-huh.
And this was no different.
Nighttime fight time.
Nighttime fight time. Mm-hmm. So I saw the figure standing over me. I thought I had woken up, which I obviously didn't. Mm-hmm. It was still part of the dream.
Sure.
But as I'm coming to, I see him. And I start kicking. I'm like, fuck you, fuck you. And I go, what the fuck? And I was sleeping next to Paris, and I fucking woke her up. Uh-huh. I like fucking elbowed her, and I'm like, wake up. And I'm like, I was ready to fight. Uh-huh. I was like, fuck you, fuck, what the fuck? And I start kicking and shit. And then all of that movement, you start to come to, and you go, and you look around, and you're in bed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm such a fucking moron. Like, why did I?
I'm glad you didn't Wolverine her.
Oh, yeah. Just fucking stab. Help me. Help. No, she barely fucking came to, and I was like.
Which means you were mostly fighting in your sleep.
Yes, exactly.
And really all you were probably doing in real life is.
And then when she finally came to, I was like, just go back to bed.
It doesn't matter.
Just go back to bed.
Yeah.
So that's usually what happens.
Okay.
The first night terror was a kid, so I screamed, but I didn't run. Mm-hmm. I held my ground.
Okay.
But I yelled for backup.
Okay.
Got it eventually, but he was already gone. Mm. And then the second one, that one I don't really want to talk about. I'll tell you that one off air. But
okay. If if my kid ever did that to me, just screamed for me and said, there was a man in my doorway that told me to be quiet, I would remove that child. He'd be gone. That is the day he goes to boarding school. That's it. Not in this house. I'm sorry.
Credit to my parents. They didn't think anything of it. Well, I don't know if credit to them, but like they didn't think anything of it. I mean, you know what? I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask them tomorrow if they remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if they even remember that. They never bring it up.
Yeah.
I wonder if they remember that.
I mean, I think you realistically have to give your child some creepy leeway to be like, yeah, my imaginary friend has been telling me stuff. And you're like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, yeah, I saw that man over there just, standing over there. And you're like, all right, that's fine, I guess.
Kids are so creepy, man.
But past a certain point, it's like, okay, shut up.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. There's this thing. He just he comes out from under the bed. He lays with me.
His
every
name's
night.
Mr. Binksy. He talks sometimes. He has really red eyes.
Yeah, he's like really, really tall, like way taller than you, Daddy, like
way taller.
And his arms are like really, really, really long, and they like engulf me while I'm in bed. I'm
That's
like, how do you
nice.
know what engulf means?
He told me.
Mr. Binks told me.
Mr. Binksy.
Mr. Binks, he told me.
He's right behind you, actually.
He's super smart. Yeah, he's been following you this whole time. How did you not know that he's been breathing on your neck? Yeah, that's when you go, all right, get out of my house.
Yep.
Go.
Go.
Take Mr. Binksy with you.
I don't care where. Just go.
You fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, I now that you mention that, I was gonna say I never had experiences like that before, but I do think I've had a couple now that you explain it in that way, where I have seen myself laying in bed, like see my legs under the sheets, and then like see something at the edge of my bed, and then immediately start like kicking, and then I wake up, and I'm like, okay, I was sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe that was sort of that like, night terror-ish, like, intermediary space. This like again like this hallucinogenic space where like you can see, at least in your mind's eye, see what your layout is, and have that happen in a realistic way. Yeah. That kind of bridges it more realistically than a regular dream. Yeah. I've had that, and then as a young kid, I used to sleep in a bunk bed on the bottom bunk, and I for some reason, it's a very weird one. It's not as creepy, but it's still weird. I remember because we used to have like this patio area outside that had these hanging plants. I may have told this story on the spooky episode, but I remember seeing the door open and one of the swinging plants, like with its vines, swing itself in and just like kind of swing around the room for a while, and then like stop and then like swing back out. And I was like, what? Yeah. I was only a little kid though, so I didn't know what it was. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. And then, I went back to bed and woke up next morning, and I've had that vivid memory in my mind ever since. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Your mind, I find it scary how powerful your mind is. Yeah. What it can do to you. Yeah. To change your perception of reality. Yeah. Because to think it's as easy as that to make you think, at least for that moment, that that's happening.
I mean, it really illustrates that perception is reality. Yeah. That like what you're seeing and believing at that moment is real to you.
Sure. Yeah.
And if you're stuck in a hallucination, for instance, it doesn't matter what's happening outside of your brain.
No, it's happening to you.
It's happening. Yeah. Which is, I mean, like you said, it's fascinating. It's amazing. It's weird. It's really, 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 really interesting to think about.
And it gives you, the smallest peephole into the mental health struggles of so many people too.
For sure. I don't know how you could have a nightmare at just any nightmare and not at some point think to yourself like, what if that's all you knew
Yeah.
The whole time.
In your waking life.
Yeah.
Imagine you're hearing stuff, seeing stuff, and not knowing what's real or not.
I think that you have to be educated on the fact that that's what some people are going through in life.
Yeah.
But once you are educated on shit like that, there's no way that you can't not think about the fact that you are lucky in that you experience. I guess this is me talking to myself. Lucky that you experience those things rarely, if ever. Usually you get a great night of sleep,
Right.
with like fun dreams.
Yeah.
You wake up and you go, that was awesome. I should
Tell
write
me
that
about it,
down.
Marco.
I mean, you know?
As I'm awake all night
Yeah.
playing Persona.
I mean, hey, that's your fault.
That's true.
Watch Seinfeld and then go to bed.
All right.
You know?
Yes, Dad.
Hey, you stink. You fucking take a bath, Jerry. Anyway. Yeah, I think we've gotten creepy enough, right?
I think so. I think so.
Let's but we have to do it. We have to cheers of the week, right? We have to.
Of course.
Well, I mean, then before we get out of here, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, you got your cheers?
I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't.
Do you remember it?
Yes, I do. I just remembered, actually.
All right. Well, then.
Cheers to Dune Part 1. For those who don't know, I've been reading Dune, the first Dune novel. Of which there are many. I specifically aimed to get up to the point where the movie, this very first movie, ends, which I did just in time. And I watched the new movie by Denis Villeneuve. And I have to say, I don't think it could have been much better. They've called Dune an impossible book to translate to film.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked out in the past. But I feel like this is, essentially as good as it could be for a 2.5 hour chunk of time. Because there's just so much in that first half of the book. So much lore they have to pack into it. So much world building they have to do. Literally thousands of years that they have to kind of explain in a succinct package. Mm-hmm. And, for the most part, they pull it off. And it looks really good. I'm proud of this movie in the way that I feel like a soccer mom would be proud of their daughter.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it all the way, and it's doing really well right now. They just got greenlit. The part 2 just got greenlit. I'm just excited to be on board, man.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Dune Part 1. Even though I did not watch it in the theater, I recommend you do, because after watching it at home, it was great, but I think I may make my way out to a theater to actually watch it in its full splendor, because it deserves it. So, Dune. Check it out.
To Dune.
And read it. It's good.
Beautiful. Cheers to Netflix finally pulling the trigger on this Cowboy Bebop show, and they released a trailer. This is, I guess, a mini trailer trash.
Okay.
Sort of, slightly.
Sure.
I just appreciate
Trailer trash?
Beep?
Is it like a truck trash? Truck?
trailer. What's this? Still gotta be trailer.
I guess.
Trailer truck trash.
Okay.
Trailer truck trash.
Trailer truck trash.
Trailer truck trash.
Okay.
I'm just going to finish this.
Do it.
The show, the animated masterpiece is on Netflix.
Right, we're not talking about the live action.
No, the anime, which I didn't think that they were gonna do. I just wasn't expecting. I didn't see any announcements that they were gonna do that. Think it's very cool that they did do that. So anybody who is not initiated You can go back and watch the entire show.
Yes.
It's a masterpiece. Listen, we could spend another hour and a half solely talking about Cowboy Bebop. I honestly would like to do so. Just sit around and talk about how good of a show it is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's perfect. And obviously we've talked about the live action show that's been coming out, or that's going to come out, the cast, the
Out in
teasers, and all that jazz.
Nah. All that jazz.
Jazz.
Very nice.
That Asteroid Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And now we finally get an actual trailer for the show.
Yeah.
Looks great. I'm not really going to go into detail because this is just my cheers of the week, so we won't even go into detail about it. Just wanted to bring it up. I'd say if you don't know what's going on with the show, if you're just going in blind, then watch the anime because it's only 26 episodes, so you could just fly through that in a couple of days if you're about that life.
Mm-hmm.
By the time that you get done with the show, with the animated show, the live action show will be out, and then you can watch that. You can just transition into that.
Yep.
So I'm just really happy about this because, like, I don't know. We're just living in a time where we get to watch Cowboy Bebop over and over again.
On streaming, yeah. It's great.
So we're just living in a society, Adam. We're living in a society.
Amen, sister.
All right. Think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, before we get out of here, we have to review these beers. So, without further ado, tonight's brew was from the Allagash Brewing Company. It is the Allagash White, their flagship Belgian-style wheat beer. Obi, what did you think of this beer? Damn it.
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought initially that there wasn't a lot there as far as flavors. I was expecting a bit more of a punch to the palate with all of those, the curacao and the orange peel and all that. But it's very subtle.
Yeah.
And at first, that was a detriment to me. At first, I thought maybe I wanted a bit more flavor in there. But the more I had it, the more I realized, no, sir.
No.
This is actually a plus because it is so subtle. It is so smooth. I love it.
All right.
I am going to go ahead and give it the 5.
Give it a 5.
Giving it the 5.
I would agree with that score, sir. I'm also going to give it a 5. I think it makes sense. Steve's talking about it's his Desert Island beer.
Yeah.
And I could see where he's coming from with that because it's fantastic. I wouldn't pick a Belgian-style beer to be my, Desert Island beer, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
The citrusy notes, the orange peel comes through, the coriander comes through, those things. But like you said, they're more subtle. They're not like overpowering. You don't like wheat beers, Hefeweizens, things like that. They tend to really overpower you with like this sweetness or like it's like it's too much. This, I think, is pretty well balanced. I understand why people have been clamoring to get this back here, so I'm happy that it is.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. There's another one that we have at Red Light right now called River Trip.
Okay.
So I'll probably grab that, and we can see if this is a fluke or if they're the real deal Holyfield.
Pull it off again.
According to the One Beer In podcast. So, say a unanimous 5, right?
Nice.
All right. I think we got it.
I know we do.
Well, then let's get the fuck out of here. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, and for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have a beautiful evening. We love you. Love you. Look out for your spirits. Spirit boys. Spirit boys. Spirit boys.